Hello and welcome, everybody. It is Monday, June 26th. We're just so close to July, halfway through the year. But we still got a few days left in June, so let's not rush it. It is Monday, June 6th, 2023. It is the latest installment of Sports Talk Live with your host, myself, Nick Burt. Again, we're in those months now where there's not a ton going on, if we're honest. Right now, the NHL Awards are on. That's why I'm wearing Penguins 2023 Winter Classic jersey. But once again, like all award shows, it's absolutely dumb and pointless, and this could have technically been an email. If I just think about it, the NBA, I believe, did away with their awards ceremony during COVID, I believe. It may have been pre-COVID. And then they just had each award spread out during the playoffs, basically, and they'd award it in the pre-show or whatever. Obviously, the NFL does it, which, again, it's a terrible product. The NHL one's significantly worse because the NHL doesn't care about its product, if we're honest here. So, I don't think baseball does one. I could be wrong. The FIFA does one. It's always terrible. But, this one, the NHL one, it's in Nashville, and they're really playing up the country music feel, so it's even worse. But yeah, so some awards have already been awarded tonight. The Ted Lindsay Award, which is the most outstanding player voted by the NHLPA. Connor McDavid wins it for the fourth time in his career. The Lady Byng Memorial Trophy, which is, sportsmanship and being good on the ice. Anze Kopitar of the LA Kings wins that one. The Mark Messier NHL Leadership Award, which, if you read some things up about Messier, not really a leader, but he still has a trophy named after him. Won by Steven Stamkos of the Lightning. The trophy is awarded to those who exemplify great leadership qualities on and off the ice, which there's really not a huge difference between that and Lady Byng, but I don't vote on this. Apparently, there's an award for the candidate who best exemplifies commitment to excellence through strength of character, competitiveness, and athleticism, which is the E.J. McGuire Award. And it goes to Connor Bedard, who is not an NHL player as of this moment. So, not really sure about that one. But like I said, I didn't really know it was an award until now. The Calder Memorial Trophy, which is the Rookie of the Year, won by Matty Beniers of the Seattle Kraken. And I believe the most recent, no, not the most recent one, but the Selke Award winning player for this year is Patrice Bergeron. That was pretty much a well-deserved win, I think, for him. It's his sixth overall, so he's done this rodeo before. And then the Bill Masterton Memorial Trophy for perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to the game. Pittsburgh Penguins defenseman Chris Letang had a rough year on and off the ice, so he wins that award, and that one also very well deserved for him. I'll keep you updated as they announce them here while we're live. They're just doing filler stuff right now because that's usually what they do. And like I said, award shows are quite dumb if you ask me. So, but there is some bigger NHL event happening this week, and that will be on Wednesday. The NHL Draft is on Wednesday. We'll be live during that. Plans for the draft, not 100% sure yet for the show. We'll get it figured out by Wednesday. Who knows? We might be live a little bit early to do, the full draft, which I doubt is going to happen. But you never know. We'll see. But So this, as of right now, this is how the draft looks like it will be ordered as of now. There's still time for a lot of trades to happen. The Blackhawks are still picking 1. They're obviously not going to be dropping from 1, given that the pick is basically confirmed of who it's going to be. Ducks at 2, Blue Jackets at 3, Sharks 4, Canadiens 5, Coyotes 6, Flyers 7, Capitals 8, Red Wings 9, Blues 10, Canucks 11, Coyotes 12, Sabres 13, Penguins 14, Predators 15, Flames 16, Red Wings 17, Jets 18, Blackhawks 19, Kraken 20, Wild 21, Flyers 22, Rangers 23, Predators 24, Blues 25, Sharks 26, Avalanche 27, Maple Leafs 28, Blues 29, Hurricanes 30, Canadiens 31, and Golden Knights 32. So like I said, first overall pick, basically guaranteed of who it's going to be. It is going to be Connor Bedard. If it is not, there's something wrong with the Chicago Blackhawks organization. Connor Bedard is the best player in this draft. He's going to be a huge playmaker for the Blackhawks in the upcoming future. Blackhawks made I'd say decently sized big trade today, acquiring Taylor Hall and pending free agent Nick Fangolio from the Bruins in exchange for it was 2 prospects, I believe, but this was so that the Bruins could clear up some cap space. The return was restricted free agent defenseman Ian Mitchell and Alec Regula. That was mostly just a Boston clearing up cap space move, and then Chicago somewhat getting a better player in return to help that rebuild a little, because they need it, if we're honest. Connor Bedard can't do everything. So it will be interesting to see what Taylor Hall can do with the Blackhawks. If he stays there, you never know. He could be packaged up and sent somewhere else before the start of the season starts, but I don't really see that happening. I feel like he will be a Chicago Blackhawk to start the season. I honestly, the way everything's starting to play out, I think picks 1 through 4 right now are basically confirmed of who it's going to be. Number 2, I believe, to the Ducks is going to be Adam Fantilli. If this Bedard was not in this draft, Fantilli would be the number 1 pick. He's, I think, clearing away the second best player in this draft. So I'm not really surprised that he's going to go 2. He did decent at Michigan, so it's most likely going to be him at 2. It looks like at number 3, it's going to be Leo Carlsson, who is coming over from Sweden. Don't really know much about him, but I know a lot of people have been saying he's going to be a great center for whatever team picks him up. And this kind of just feels like a good fit for the Blue Jackets, if we're honest. It feels right, if you ask me. And I feel like that's another predestined one. And the final one is Will Smith to the Sharks, another center. Just kind of feels like that's going to happen no matter what. It's going to basically, for those 4 to change, I'd say, I think it'd take a big shock. Obviously, there's one player that is dropping. We'll get to him in a minute. They just announced the Vezina Award winner, which is Best Goaltender. It was won by Semyon Varlamov. Or no, that is not Semyon Varlamov. I am so sorry. That is Linus Ullmark. For some reason, it said Varlamov, but that is Linus Ullmark, who wins the Vezina Trophy from the Bruins. Bruins obviously had the best season recorded in history by NHL standards, and lost in 7 games in round 1. But this is a regular season award, so it makes sense that he won it, and I'm not really surprised by that at all. So back to the draft. It really does feel like the draft starts at 5, and it's with the Canadiens. I'm not really sure where they're going to go here. Like I mentioned, there's a player that's been mentioned that's been really dropping right now, and that's Matev Mishkov from Russia. A lot of problems seem to be happening with his contract in the KHL and him potentially not being able to come over to America or Canada until 2026 possibly. And then all the problems, just with Russia in general might complicate things even more. So it's looking like he's going to drop right now. I don't know if the Canadiens go for him at 5, given they have a similar style player already on their team in Cole Caulfield. It really does kind of feel like, they wouldn't do that. So it kind of feel like Mishkov drops from 5. I really don't know who the Canadiens take. Maybe somebody like Ryan Leonard, they take him. But at 6, I don't see the Coyotes taking Mishkov either. They need a more we need help now player than, hey, you're going to be here in 3 years. We'll take you now. They kind of need defense, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's David Reinbrenner or Reinbacher. Pronunciations, I butcher them. It happens to everybody. So I wouldn't be surprised. It seems like he is a ready now player, I'd say. He can start game 1 next year, especially with the Coyotes being terrible. So I feel like the Coyotes got to go defense there. So I think that's going to be the pick there. I think the Flyers at 7 might be the first real opportunity for Mishkov to get drafted, because their rebuild is in the part where it's it's restarting a little. So it's going to be a few years until they're close to competing, which is surprising, but it's also the Flyers. So can't say I'm surprised. Do I think they go for him here? I don't know. They also kind of feel like we need to get a little bit better now type situation. I mean, they need a right winger. So I think it will be either Mishkov or Kobe Barlow. Given that, I think it might be Barlow, just because I don't know if anybody really wants to wait that 3 years for Mishkov. Given that, I think the team at 8 takes him if he's there. The Washington Capitals obviously have one of, if not the greatest Russian hockey player of all time in Alexander Ovechkin on their team. That could also be a team where they could speed up that process of getting him because of having Ovechkin on that team. If he drops to 8 to the Capitals, he's going to the Capitals. I don't see him falling any farther than that. He's going to be a great talent wherever he goes. It's just, you got to wait that time. I mean, the Penguins had to wait, believe it was 4 or 5 years. I think it might have been 4 for Evgeny Malkin. His Russia contract with, I don't even remember what the league was called at the time because it wasn't the KHL, but he was playing for Miroslav Martinik, Melitrug, I don't know. I'm not trying. But he was drafted 2nd overall in the 04 draft. So same draft as Ovechkin, going 1. And he didn't come to the NHL until the 07-08 season. So got to factor in the lockout. But it's weird with those Russian contracts. And obviously Ovechkin didn't really have to deal with that. I mean, he was over basically automatically, except, the lockout. But yeah, if Mishkov drops to 8, he's going at 8, I believe. At 9 with the Red Wings, I'm not even going to predict because it's Steve Yzerman. He's going to pick some random Swedish person, I shouldn't say Swedish. He's going to pick a random Nordic person you've never heard of that's going to be developing for 3 years, and the Red Wings are still going to be not great for a while. So I don't know what they do there. I don't know what position you go for either. Maybe I think you gotta go offensively there. I don't think you go defense. The Red Wings they kind of need help everywhere. It feels they don't have enough right now, I don't think. So we'll see where that goes. And then at 10 with the Blues, I think once again you go offense. Now, depending on what's going to happen with this possible trade that the Blues are going to be in that has been talked about the past few days, where they're not really mentioning anything except that Torrey Krug would be a part of it, but he has to waive his no trade clause, and as of now he's not waiving it. It all seems very complicated over there in St. Louis, but I don't know where they go here again. I feel like the NHL draft, out of all the drafts, is the most unpredictable because you have anybody from players that can play tomorrow, basically, in the league, and players you're not going to see for 4 or 5 years. I mean, it's that and baseball, basically, are the two most difficult because half these players, A, you never may see, or B, you won't see them for 3 or 4 years. So given that, I will stop the predicting there, but I will mention some teams on what positions they should go after. The Penguins have to go after offense. They need it back, or bad, I should say. Yeah, they need it quite bad, just given that it's a big fall off from our top 2 lines and then the bottom 2 lines. I mean, that is one of the reasons they didn't make the playoffs this year, but it's neither here nor there. Obviously, didn't make it. So what can you do, basically? The Flames, everything except goaltender, maybe, given that nobody wants to re-sign. So you kind of got to go with everybody. Gary Bettman is now stepping up. I am sure he's getting booed, even though the TV is muted. I don't know what he's going to start talking about here. I'm sure it's going to be another award. But back to the draft. Like I said, the Flames have to go with anybody that's good right now. It feels like they might need some depth players coming next year, given that nobody really wants to re-sign. So we'll see what happens with that. I wouldn't be surprised if the Blackhawks, with their second pick, either A, trade it for more, capital, either later in the draft or next year, or if they take offense again. I mean, the Blackhawks were one of the worst teams last year, obviously, that they won the draft lottery. So, yeah, they got to go offense again, I believe. The Kraken, they just got to keep doing what they're doing. So I don't even know what that is for them. That's probably going to be offense. Probably, I'd say they need like a third or fourth line winger, either right or left. So, again, like I said, this draft is quite hard to predict, given the first 4 picks. Everything else, I feel like not really sure. I could see a lot of movement in the second half of this draft with players, or not with players, with picks. So it's just, like I said, it's hard to predict. So there's no real point in doing that. With the Maple Leafs at 28, if they stay there, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they go offense they go winger. They have a few good. I shouldn't say a few. They have okay. They do have a few good prospects in the workings right now. You're still probably a year or two away from actually seeing those come to fruition. Matthew Nyes is the only one right now. I mean, he obviously played in the playoffs, so I don't really count him, but he's still young enough to be counted as a prospect, given that he just came over from college in April. And other than that, I wouldn't be surprised if the Golden Knights go with defense at 32, if they keep 32, like I said. Not really sure what they're going to do there, but we'll see what happens. So Gary Bettman is doing basically a Lifetime Achievement Award for the outgoing general manager of the Nashville Predators. He's been there since the beginning of the franchise. They started in 98, so probably 96, David Poley. So congrats to him on his retirement. Barry Trotz is replacing him. So yeah, given that there's nothing really going on else with the NHL right now. Like I said, the awards are still on. I'll keep you updated. But let's go on to the pitch. Like I said, transfer saga rumors going around like crazy right now. The summer transfer window is heating up. Some of them just within the last few hours. PSG is close to signing Lucas Hernandez from Bayern Munich. That could be a pretty good signing for them. Obviously, a lot of things with PSG's future are uncertain, given Mbappe wanting to leave and then maybe getting a contract extension. Again, nobody really knows. Man City officially submitted their first bid for Declan Rice tonight, the West Ham midfielder. It sounds like Arsenal are going to also make their third bid for him tonight. From what it sounds like, it's going to be Man City that have the lead coming out of this, which it's a good move for West Ham to sell him to City, but it's also, he gets more playing time at Arsenal. He wins trophies at City, and they get more money for him at City, I believe, because he's just going to be a depth player, I believe, at City. But again, nothing has confirmed out of there yet. Valencia are opening to sell U.S. international Yunus Musa. It sounds like that it's basically a done deal that he will not be playing for Valencia next year. Valencia, a team in just absolute catastrophic conditions right now. They are just not great at all. It sounds like AC Milan might be interested in him. The price seems to be around 20 million euros. So Milan also interested in Christian Pulisic, the other U.S. international that seems to be on the move this summer. Now Weston McKennie, we're not sure where he's going to go yet. That could really be anywhere. Also seems like AC Milan is closing in on a deal for Ruben Loftus-Cheek from Chelsea. Sounds like 16 million plus 4 million add-ons. So AC Milan looks to be rebuilding from the Chelsea squad, basically. Chelsea castaways, I should say, as they need to make a lot of money. A lot of their players also going to Saudi Arabia from Chelsea. There's a lot going on there. Sounds like Tino Livermoralto might be on the move to Newcastle as their new right back. Sounding like £12 million per season. We'll see if anything comes of that. He's young, player for Southampton. Given that they were relegated, it seems like he will be moving on. Another relegated team, it sounds like Tottenham are going to start amping up the pressure to sign James Maddison this week. It sounds like Leicester wants 60 million, Tottenham want to pay 40. So if they get it over the line, I think it's a good deal. If they don't, I don't think it's the end of the world, but I don't know. I don't know what Tottenham's real strategy is yet. Like, they have the goalkeeper coming in from Genoa in Italy. I never heard of the dude until last week when it said Tottenham were close to a deal. And his highlights look good, but he also conceded a lot. But given it's Tottenham, I'm sure it will work out great or work out absolutely awful, because that's only how they go. So, but there was a whole talk about a wave of players that are going to be sold. And I haven't seen one player sold yet, or even rumored to be sold. So I don't know what they're doing right now, if I'm honest. So sometimes it's just best to let the people do what they need to do. Just being announced, the King Clancy Memorial Trophy winner, which is the player who best exemplifies leadership on and off the ice and has made a noteworthy humanitarian contribution in his community. Calgary Flames player Michael Backlund. I feel like half of these awards are you have to be a good player and in the community too, but again, I don't run the NHL. So back to some transfer rumors. It seems like Bayern Munich and Man City are closing in on a deal for Kyle Walker. Sounds like Bayern might also be in for Harry Kane too. Again, I'm not really sure what's happening there. Tottenham can do whatever. Sounds like Juventus are finalizing a deal for U.S. international Timothy Weah from Lille. It's a decent signing. I feel like he's going to be more of a... In his position, he'd be a bench player, but I don't know what Massimino Algieri has planned for him. So, yeah. And Mohamed Kunduz from Ajax might be on the move to Brighton. Those contract talks seem to just be starting. And then Arsenal have submitted their second bid for Jurrien Timber from Ajax. We'll see if they can get that deal across the line. Also going on the pitch, we talked about it on Friday. It is the Gold Cup. We've had some interesting results, I'd say, to start the Gold Cup season. Saturday night, the U.S. drew to Jamaica after they were trailing for, I think, 75 minutes of the game. They were trailing. So that ends 1-1. I think that says a lot about this USAC squad, basically, with mostly all MLS players, but a lot of people don't like to talk about that on the internet, but whatever. Also in Group A, this is on Sunday, Trinidad and Tobago beat St. Kitts and Nevis 3-0. So Trinidad and Tobago sitting top of the group right now in Group A. That's interesting. And given how St. Kitts and Nevis played, it kind of seems like they'll be the punching bag of this group. We'll see how many goals the U.S. get on them before we determine that, because knowing the U.S., it will be like a 1-0 game. So, also yesterday in Group B, Haiti, with a 97th minute goal, beat Qatar 2-1. Qatar, this looks like most of their squad from the World Cup, and they're losing to Haiti. It says a lot. Also, didn't realize that Qatar sacked their manager after the World Cup and hired the manager from Iran. That was interesting to see. Qatar, they're such an odd country football-wise. I wouldn't expect anything less. And then the other game in that group, Mexico defeat Honduras 4-0. A good performance from Mexico, given all the turmoil within that federation right now. So, yeah, Mexico looks like the team to beat right now. And then coming to tonight, right now, Panama is up 1-0 on Costa Rica. This is Group C action. And the other game in Group C today, Martinique beat El Salvador 2-1. El Salvador still only have one win on the season. Martinique are looking to play spoiler in this group. Had to go through the qualifying last week. Seems like they always make it to this stage of the Gold Cup, and then they kind of just fizzle out in the group stage. So they're looking to avoid that this year. And a 2-1 win against El Salvador is a good start. And I should say the El Salvador goal was 95th minute penalty, so it's not like it came from open play. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that group plays out. Like I said, on Friday, I think that's the most interesting group here at the Gold Cup. So it's going to be interesting to watch. And then tomorrow, Group D action. Canada play host to Guadeloupe, and Guatemala play Cuba. 2 matches. It's soccer to watch. That's about it. So, like I said, it's going to be something to watch, basically, and that's about it. Also, tomorrow, early at 9 a.m., we have the Champions League qualification preliminary round semifinals in Iceland. It is Athletic Escalades. I don't even know where they're from. I can do some quick research. But they will be hosting Budućnost Podgorica. I don't know. I'm going to find these countries. And then in the other game at 3 p.m., it's Trepene Galanzo versus Bredabak. That game's also in Iceland. Let's find out where these teams are from. Obviously, one of them will be Iceland. So Athletic Escalades is from Andorra. The Budućnost Podgorica, that is Montenegro. The Trepene Galanzo, that, again, I'm just butchering these. They are from San Marino. And Breiðablik is from Iceland. So, yeah, you can probably bet that. I, again, don't know any of these teams at all. Their countries might be fake. I don't know. But yeah, there's Champions League football tomorrow. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if it will be on Paramount Plus here in the U.S. It might be. It might not be. So who knows? I think that's it here for soccer. We've gone through enough random countries today. So given that, let's do a quick recap of week 3 of the CFL before we wrap up here. I mentioned this on Friday that we'd talk about it today. Huge result on Thursday. The BC Lions go into Winnipeg and beat the Blue Bombers 30-6. To say I did not expect this performance at all would be an understatement. What the BC Lions showed on Thursday was just an absolutely amazing performance against a team I believed, I won't say unbeatable because they weren't, but they're the team to beat. I think that kind of, given that result, kind of gives you an idea of what the power rankings are going to look like on Wednesday. The NHL Awards are now showing just children in the crowd. That's why I hate award shows, but whatever. Friday, the Alouettes went into Hamilton, beat the Tiger Cats 38-12. The Alouettes kind of flying under the radar. They haven't played anybody outside the division yet. And that division's not great. So, but the Tiger Cats, they look in a lot of trouble right now. I am not really sure what they are going to do here. Okay, so now there's another award. It's the Willie O'Ree Community Award. So another award for people in the community. I don't know. The NHL has a lot of community awards, it seems. So, yeah. Saturday night in double overtime, game of the week. Very exciting to watch. The Saskatchewan Roughriders defeat the Calgary Stampeders in the Dickerson Bowl. Dave Dickinson, the coach of the Stampeders, Craig Dickinson, the coach of the Roughriders brothers. Craig gets the upper hand in this battle in double overtime, 29-26. Outstanding performances from both sides of the ball on both teams. The biggest thing coming out of this game was the injuries. A lot of players took injuries in this game, and it was a lot of grabbing of knees when the injuries happened. From what I've heard, there aren't like season-ending injuries coming out of this, but it's got to be something to be looked at. The turf at McMahon Stadium, it's been there a while. Like, you can just, when you watch a game, you can tell that it's worn and it's not good. So it's not great when that happens. So hopefully it's something that can be fixed. Okay, I stand corrected. This Willie O'Ree Community Award is actually just for people in the community and not NHL players in the community. So just another community award that they're doing, I guess. So hopefully one of these people are good people and win, I guess. I don't know. And then the final game on Sunday, it was the Argonauts traveling to Edmonton, who still have not won a game there since 2019. They defeat the Elks 43-31. Once again, the Elks I thought this would be the closest the league would be in years this year. The Elks, the Red Blacks, and the Tiger Cats are making me look like a liar right now. Those three teams significantly worse than the others in the league, the other six. So I'm hard to believe. But there's some people in Edmonton. They did a deal at the beginning of the season where you could pay for a ticket to the first home game, and then you just keep coming back until they win a home game. You may get a whole season ticket's worth of tickets this year because the Elks might be that bad. The question is, are you going to want to go to those games? I don't know. So given that, I'll just take a quick look at the standings. It's way too early to talk about playoffs, but it's always fun to look at the standings. Like I said, the East Division, it's just not good at all. The Alouettes and the Argonauts are top of the division right now, and the Red Blacks and Tiger Cats are the bottom two. The Red Blacks aren't in the bottom because they played one last game. Like I said, the winner... Since the beginning of the year, the winner's coming out of the West this year. It could be any of these teams, honestly, except the Elks. The Stamps still have things to show me, I guess. They have the possibility to do that. You never know when it can happen. I still don't think anybody but Winnipeg wins the division. I think Winnipeg ends up, the regular season, I should say. Playoffs are a completely different story. Anything can happen in the playoffs. I still think Winnipeg are a team built to win the regular season. They'll go like 6-15-3 or something like that. But I just don't see anybody topping them. So given that, I think that is going to be it for tonight. There's not a lot to talk about, like I said, so we made it fun. So yeah, that's going to be it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I don't know, the screen just went black here, so I'm not sure if I went out, but if I'm still here, thank you for watching. Been a great episode as I rant about the NHL Awards, so hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you'll come back on Wednesday for the NHL Draft Spectacular that may or may not be happening. If it does happen, it happens. If not, we'll still be here at 9 o'clock on Wednesday, recapping the first 4 picks in the draft probably, because they'll probably only be through 4. That's just how drafts go these days. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and we will see you again on Wednesday.